Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. Today I'm just gonna be talking a little bit about Tig Rod I use for what material, like stainless to stainless, stainless to Corten, Corten to mild steel, and so on. Just a quick video. Again, just to kind of let you guys get an idea of what wire I use or what Tig Rod I use. Whether it's Mig Wire or Tig Rod is basically the same, 309, 308, and so on. You guys can kind of see the top of this piece. This is the piece I showed in the last video, and I just want to just show you guys just a kind of a close-up picture of what this thing is. This is a picture of it. As I said in the last video, my wife just came with the idea of let's try something that AI creates. So we just kind of talked to AI, kind of told her what we wanted, and just kind of went from there. Like I said in the last video, AI's renderings are really not that good. So you really just have to take what you see and just kind of go from there. So the piece that's by the table is kind of the start of this thing. We're not sure what we're going to call it yet. We're not even sure what it's going to look like, when we get it finished. But it's kind of new to it. Was new to us, so we're just going to try something a little different. But let me pan the camera down just so you guys can see this metal piece real quick before we get into the other portion of the video. All right, guys, so this is kind of the piece. I showed you the kind of the front. This is the front portion of it. There's the kind of step back indent in here. So that step back indent is right about here, and you're looking at it from this way, going back. So that indent on the front is on the front there. Let me just kind of turn it a little bit for you. This is kind of one side of it, a side view, if you can see that. Then this is another side view. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. But once I get it all, together and welded up, I'll let you guys kind of see the finished piece. I got to make the base for it and all that kind of stuff. And so again, that's just a piece that we're kind of developing with AI, just doing something different. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in the end, because we're kind of just adding and changing up some stuff. Because like I said, when trying to communicate with AI is pretty difficult until you really learn its language. So we'll just kind of see where this piece takes us, and just never know, we might just start doing some more pieces, with the help of AI and us helping AI and all that kind of stuff. Just doing different stuff. Well, like I said at the beginning, I just want to just kind of give you guys an idea of what wire I use or what Tig Rod I use when I'm welding similar metals, dissimilar metals, and so on. So the metal that I don't have on the table here is aluminum. When I'm welding aluminum, I often use 40-43 when I'm not really concerned about like strength. I'm concerned about strength, but I don't need it to be really strong, because I'm making like some little desktop piece or something like that. So I'll use 40-43 aluminum rod. But when I want more tensile strength, I will use 5356 aluminum rod, and that just has some more tensile strength. Seem to be a little bit more durable than the 4043. So like when I'm making like the piece, gosh, what is it? When I'm making the piece square dance or trefoil, and I'm using, you know, aluminum square tube, I'll use a 5053 because I need that to be strong because it's going to be outdoors in the elements. I don't want that potentially, you know, breaking apart at the seams, so I'll use 5053 on that particular piece. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to move the camera in a little bit more so you can get a better view of what all this stuff is on the table, just so I can kind of explain to you, you know, what I use on what. All right, guys, you can't see me, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm start on this side and kind of work my way down. So this is stainless steel to stainless steel. If I'm welding these pieces together, oftentimes I will use 308. If it's if it's 304 stainless steel, I'll use 308 wire to weld those two together. Sometimes I'll use 309, which is pretty often actually, 309 to weld these two pieces together. Or if I'm welding 316 stainless steel, I will go with the 316 stainless rod or Mig wire. This is a tube of 308, 332nd Tig Rod. This is a tube of 309L. They're all 308L, 309L, 316L. This is a 309L. Oftentimes I'll weld stainless to stainless with it. And then this is the 316L. If I have 316 stainless, I'll weld those together. And sometime if I'm welding 304 and I'm concerned about, you know, elements or it's under like trees and all that kind of stuff, sometimes I'll use 316 to weld those two pieces together. But most often I'm either using 308 or 309 to go stainless to stainless. Okay, now, next in line is stainless steel being welded to Corten. This is something we do often. Stainless steel and Corten, the combination. You have like reaching and all the other. Most of the sculpture we make, we go with stainless and Corten. So if I'm going to weld stainless steel to Corten, I'll use 309L stainless rod because it's designed for dissimilar metals. Although you can weld stainless to stainless, it's really designed for welding dissimilar metals. But the two best metals that are dissimilar to weld, in my application anyway, is stainless steel and Corten. And I use that 309 rod because it won't corrode, and these two pieces won't corrode. They won't, like, you know, corrode away, like holes and stuff like that. As long as you prepare the metals correctly, they will last, you know, a long time. So stainless steel to Corten steel, I use 309. All right, next. If I'm welding Corten to Corten, I will use, if it's in like if I'm sending it to Florida or someplace like that, where there's a lot of salt water and whatnot, I will use ER80S D2. It's high tensile strength. It resists, you know, corrosion and that kind of thing. So I'll use this when I need, you know, the highest strength that I can get, and I don't want, you know, corrosion. So I'll use ER80S D2. Next in line, if I'm welding Corten to Corten, I can use ER70S-2. And that's good for if you have rust and mill scale on your metal and you don't want to remove the rust and mill scale. You can use ER70S D2. What I find a lot of times is when I'm using Corten, we have a cutting table outside. I don't use the whole sheet or two different sheets at one time. I'll cut a sculpture out and there's always going to be a sheet, remaining portion of a sheet laying there. And if I don't bring it, into the shop, it'll sit outside and it'll just start getting the copper patina on it that looks like rust. So if I don't feel like grinding that, I can just take my ER70S2 and just weld it. And and if I don't want to take the mill scale off, the ER70S2 is good for, like I said, for welding with mill scale on. I also, if my metal is clean, I can use ER70S3, and that's for non-rusty metal. So if this is, clean, even if it has mill scale on it, it's not rusty, I can use ER70S3 to weld it and not be concerned about it. I also use, it just depends on the situation again, ER70S6, which is good for rusty metal with oil on it, and mill scale. So oftentimes you'll get metal from your welding store, or if it's like we order a lot of metal and have it shipped in, it can have oil on it because they're trying to keep it from rusting before it gets to us. So it can have it can be like oil, like a little skim coat of oil on top. I can either get acetone and clean that off, or I can use ER70S6 and just weld right to it. It won't affect it. So again, ER80S D2 is higher strength. It's a high corrosion resistant. ER70S2, you can weld through rust and mill scale. ER70S3, non-rust. It likes to weld to non-rusted metal. ER70S6, it will weld to rusty, oil, and mill scale, either one. So that's Corten to Corten. Now I just have an example of ER80S D2 Tig Rod. It looks just like the ER70S 2, 3, 6. Doesn't look any different. Looks basically the same. And then this is a ER70S 2 right here. And like I said, it doesn't look any different than the ER80S D2. And then this is a 1/8 thick rod. It is I think ER80S3. So like I said, it doesn't look any different. You just have to look on the rod. It has the numbers on it, whatever it is, the thickness. This is 1/8 scale. This is 1/8. These are 3/32 thickness. All right. So now next in line, if I'm welding Corten to mild steel, I can either use ER70S2, ER70S3, ER70S6. I can even use ER80S D2, but I'm not going to use ER80S D2 because if I'm welding Corten to mild steel, it's most likely for an indoor application. I'm going to be like making some kind of blocks or something like that to primarily go indoors. If it's going to go outdoors, I can use the Corten. Like this is a 16 gauge, I believe. I can use 11 gauge, 10 gauge, whatever it is. But this mild steel is 1/4 inch plate. So I'm really not concerned about it being outside because it'll take years and years and years for this to rot away. And a lot of our bases, a lot of artists' bases are made of mild steel, but just really thick mild steel. You know, sometimes we'll use Corten, stainless steel, you know, that kind of thing. But oftentimes we'll use mild steel as a base, and then on the bottom of the mild steel, we will have Corten mounting tabs coming off. So this is not actually sitting on the ground, it's sitting on top of Corten that is welded underneath it. So to weld Corten to mild steel, again, ER70S2, ER70S3, ER70S6. Those are the wires, or the wire or TIG rod that I use to weld those two metals. All right, guys, last but not least, if I'm welding mild steel to mild steel, I will use ER70S2, ER70S3, or ER70S6. It just depends on the situation. Again, ER70S2 is, you can use it on rusty metal and over mill scale. ER70S3, it does not like rust, so you don't want to weld rusty metal with ER70S3. And then the ER70S6, rusty metal, oily metal, mill scale, it doesn't care. You can weld basically anything with the ER70S6. So mild steel to mild steel, ER70S2, 3, and 6. That's what I normally use. All right, guys. Well, I hope that helped you, you know, somewhat. I imagine the majority of you guys know this stuff. Before the ones that don't know, I just want to just bring them up to speed, because there's so many different TIG rods and Mig wire out there that it can be very, very, very confusing. And it oftentimes will keep people from even getting started because they just have no clue. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. And I hope to see you on the next one. I'm not exactly sure what I'll be making or doing, but it'll be something that I hope will help you guys. All right, guys. Well, as usual, peace out.